Hello, good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And today we have our weekend workout where we move around the room playing with our strength. That doesn't mean you need a big room though. Just about this much. And one of these.
A body. With our body weight, we'll play with our strength, and I'll start with the head, neck, and ribs, and Lauren will start taking over with the low body. So at that head, neck, standing in a position comfortable for you, butt cheek squeeze, root those feet, take a breath, and exhale. And pull your chin in and the crown of the head high. From here, hands at your side or behind your back, and lightly do that little weird looking text neck, face forward. Then retract or crown high. Repeat one more time, forward, and then return. It doesn't need to be big shapes here, but can we slide an ear to the side, keeping the body still, and repeat the other direction, ear to the side. One last time, laterally reaching, and then the other. Return to center. Let's try those same actions through the rib cage or T-spine. Hands across the body or in tight, squeeze your butt cheeks and push your sternum forward. Your hips don't move, but then to return, squeeze your shoulder blades together and lightly flex or round that rib cage spine. One more time, we'll go extension. Squeeze your butt cheeks, push your sternum forward, and then return, little flexion, and then return to the center of that in the middle. Then shift those ribs over to the lateral sides, through center, and the other way. We do like a teapot, but right now, think slide or glide. Ribs moving laterally to center and laterally one more time. And center. Return the head, and now let's connect all those dots in a circle. Start with our chin tuck in, and start moving to a side of your choice. I chose my right. Then moving in a counterclockwise direction, I'll go from the right to the front to the left, left behind to the original side lateral, then return in center. Then go the other direction. So slide to the other side, then reach to the front. And I'm moving in a clockwise direction from the front to the side, to the back, to that original side, and then center. One last time for me, then throw it over to Lauren, repeating those same actions in a circle shape through the T-spine rib cage. Hands in tight, slide to the side. I'll go to the front from here. Whoa. Squeeze your butt cheeks, reaching out, and then gently rounding through that spine, but keep the shoulder blades together. That's on my original side, so I'll pull into the middle. And last time here, lateral shift, then reach to the front. Breathe, articulate those shapes in a slide glide way. Last little quarter turn for me here, and then return to center. Go everywhere, left, right, front, back, but return to that strong place in the middle.
Everywhere. Everywhere you go, you need to take your feet with you. So with your feet underneath you, let's feel the heels gripping the floor, then the lateral borders of the foot, the balls of the feet are down, and spread those 10 toes out. Once they're spread out, let's put the pinkies down, the ring toes, the middle toes, the index toes, and the thumb toes. With all 10 toes gripping and the ball of the foot down, think about pulling the ball of your foot to your heel. As you're doing that, have a little peek. See, are you scrunching all your toes up, or are you trying to shorten or use that arch by engaging the midfoot? Answer number 2 is a little more correct. Keep playing with that as we then send our knees towards over our toes. Press to tall, extending those cheeks, squeezing the butt, bracing the core. Let's push down and find that first balance. And then with the same amount of control, come down to find those heels again. Next, keep that foot pulling together as you pull the foot off the floor or the heel off the floor, sending the knee to the front. Then use those toes to point. I always love rolling over those toes at least once a day. Once here, let's wing that ankle out to the side, and then keeping the knee forward, pull the ankle back underneath, push into the floor to get to the tiptoes, the ball of foot, the heel comes down and that hip extends. Repeat on the other side. Feel that pull off the floor. Then use the toes to point. Gently flex or round over the toes. Then get back to the tip, the ball of the foot, The heel comes down as the hips extend. Next, let's go back to knees pressing over toes. Press to tall. Find one more straight leg balance. If it's easy up here, could you look around by moving your head and your eyeballs, changing your focus point, coming back to center, knees straight to send. And last balance here, let's send our knees over our toes. Find a balance on those bent legs and hold. And then put the heels down and extend. And next, we'll work all the way down to the floor. So we'll press those knees over the toes. We'll peel the heels up. With or without those hands, extend. Untuck the hips, squeeze the cheeks. Untuck the toes, pointing them back. Let's sit back on those legs for a second with pointed feet. How does it feel through the quads? How does it feel through the top and the bottom of the feet even? And then squeeze the cheeks, extend the hips, and let's do a quick wrist warm up.
Those wrists, for our zoo exhibits or our crawls here, let's hinge on the hips and absorb that floor with the fingertips first, the calluses second, and then lastly screwing in the whole hand. Take a breath. With the head looking between those hands, pull the hands towards the knees. Then do our first knuckle push-up. You might get the crack out there. And then nice and slowly return, full hands to the floor. Repeat our first knuckle push-ups for a couple in a row, ensuring that those elbows stay straight. Press, exciting the callus line or the knuckles, if you will, as well as the fingertips. Getting those two places of the hand excited will help alleviate some of that stress associated with that wrist extension or push-up style wrist. Last one or two for me, and on that last one, I'll push, flick my wrist through, and add our little bit of a shake. Keeping the wrist extension, but this time with that underhand grip. If allowed, land fingertips first, callus line second, and then perhaps the hands fully connected. How rich is this on those forearm flexors? It might be quite intense. So we can always raise the floor up or go against the wall to accommodate if you need. From this position, while still looking at the hands, I just want to say hi to you here. Press the pinkies into the floor lightly, and then more aggressively, and then relax. Do the same thing with the ring finger. Gently at first, excite those forearm flexors, and relax. And then the middle finger is next. Lightly first through the fingertip and concentrate on the callus line and fingertip, and then relax. Lastly, the fingertip on the index finger. Then that callus line. Press heavily, relax that effort. And Lauren always says, well, what about those thumbs? So let's give those thumbs some energy too.
Ooh.
Press the thumbs, press the index, press all 10 fingers, add a little elbow bend if allowed, and then like Spider-Man, flick that floor away and add our little shake. Let's transition to standing from here, but start with the toes pointed if you're allowed. I love this move, Lauren. Let's keep those hips extended, and very modestly can we lean towards the back. Keeping a straight line between the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. Come back to that tall kneel and repeat 2 more. Squeeze your butt cheeks. Brace your abs. Test your shield. Maintain your breath. And then press through to tall. How are those quads? How are the tops of the feet? Last repetition. Breathe. Underneath that shield, high core tension as we lean, and extend to tall. From here, tuck under those toes, and like me, use the hands, or like Lauren, use them without. Find your toe balance, stay on those tippy toes, find your tall stand, and then reset the heels to the floor with control. One more thing for me, then I'll hand it over to Lauren. Let's go back to the head, and then that rib cage, this time drawing our figure 8 shape. Stand any way that you choose. This squat stance is comfortable for me. Start with the chin tuck in, then chin towards sternum. From there, trace the clavicle. A small shape is a win here. Then look up the wall, small shapes again. Return the head to center, crown high by pulling the chin low. The flexion of the neck, check. Then rotate the other way. Cross the clavicle, up the wall, find center, pull the chin in, the crown high, and then repeat in the other direction so it's extension or up first. Then look out to the wall, look down the wall, gentle chin nods throughout, and last time, extension up, look out to the side, chin nod, finish in the middle, and lightly reset on the horizon. Lastly, again, that same effort through the rib cage. Hands in tight, modest chin tuck, up and over in the flexion of the rib cage onto those hips. Then I'll rotate to my right. Then I'm going to dip to the back right corner, up and over, and then through the middle yet again. That flexion. Squeeze your bum. Make sure you breathe. Add a gentle rotation. Side bend. Once you're centered, belly button lining up with the sternum, pull back down, level on the horizon. Then extend up and over a hurdle in the back, and then from there it's a rotation. A gentle side bend yet again, circling around to the front this time, and pull down on the abs to extend through that rib cage T-spine. And lastly, our rotation. Side bend to that new corner, and then our circle shape to the front again. Pull down to get tall. And then add our shake. The dragon is here.
All right, I like to warm up those lunge legs a little bit, and then we'll see where that takes us. So taking a single leg from your feet underneath you into a step back lunge position. In this position, we're up on that back toe. We're keeping this shin fairly vertical. We might change that as we ease in and out of it. But for right now, we have a bent front knee, a straightish leg in the back, and a vertical front shin. Right now, what I'd like you to do is add a soft bend to that back knee. Then tuck under the back hip. Now, keeping that back hip tucked under so that cheek squeeze, then slowly try to straighten the knee or press the heel to the back wall. As you do that, don't let this pelvis change and arch that low back. What that means is that knee might not ever get to straight, and that's okay. For 3, 2, gently relax that tension. Relaxing that tension might mean bending that knee a little bit more. We are going to add on next. By tucking under that back hip, this time we are going to bend that knee a little bit more, coming into a medium lunge height. We're tucked under in that back hip, squeezing the hip forward. We're pulling in the front leg, and we're feeling that tension pull to center. Back hip sending forward, front hip pulling in for 3, 2, push away to stand up tall. One last time, we're going to make it all the way to the floor here. So from that tucked under position, press the back hip forward, pull the front leg in. As we slowly descend, these hips stay level and our front heel tries to stay heavy. Come to that landing position, check in. Is your front shin still fairly vertical? Okay, I'll give you 1 or 2 degrees, that's okay. But keep that vertical front shin and heel down, adjust if you need to move that foot forward. We're extending that back hip, keeping our hip underneath our shoulders. As we push forward and back in this, we should have enough power to whoop, stand up together. Great, let's repeat on the other side. Shake, same thing, second side. Step back lunge. We're high first, so we have a vertical shin. We're going to tuck under that, we will tuck under that back hip, which will make that back leg bend a little bit, but then keeping that hip tucked under, gently try to straighten that back knee. Think about forcing the heel to the wall behind you, lightly straightening behind the knee for 3, 2, rebend, take a second off. Next, tuck under the hip, bend the knee to a medium position, and pull, tension to center. Front leg pulling in, back hip pushing forward. Level hips, square to the front of the room. 3, 2, push away, take a second off. All the way to the floor this time, pulling that front leg in, sending that back hip forward. Control your descent, vertical shin, soft landing. Whew. Could you keep that heel down? Do you need to adjust that foot? Next, front legs pulling in for a second, back hip pushing forward. That should keep you in this place with an extended hip and a stacked upper body. Then we'll change the direction of the forces, push forward and back, already driving you to tall.
I think Lauren said we'll extend that lunge, so let's take a break off those legs because that got mine quite excited. And it's time to go to the AWTY. Not quite the same rhyme as the YMCA, but making those arm shapes with the shoulders and arms. Stand parallel or sitting or any other position comfortable for you. Hands at the side, tight to the body like an I. So maybe it's the IAWYMCA. Anyways, let's elevate the shoulders and then depress, reaching down. Keep the hands touching your sidelines, protract or round through the shoulder blades, and then retract. From the I, let's go to the W. At the W, check in on those hands. Are they extended or are they straight lines, fingertips, wrists in a straight line with the elbow? From here, elevate the shoulder, then depress or down. Keep the hands fixed in space and protract, rounding shoulders, and finish, retract. Make sure you don't hit your training partner or a wall beside you, and then extend the elbows out to the side to the T. Palms up and elbow pits face up as well. Then elevate the shoulders as a shrug. Pull down, keep the hands in space, but try to round the shoulders forward and finish in retraction. Last movement here is a Y shape. Go towards that YMCA and our arms overhead. And again, elevate, shrugging, stiff elbows packing or pulling down, protraction, that's a toughie, retraction, even harder, and then pull the hands that the palms face the body like a chin up, and now cramp up those biceps and triceps, extending on the elbow, high tension on those arms. When the elbows are fully straight at your sides, cramp the triceps a little bit extra, and then the shake and the wiggle. Little break off those legs. What do you have in store now though, Lauren?
Oh, excellent. I think it's time to get into our first crawl.
Ooh.
Okay, let's explore a little bit of a bear, and this one's for Hank the Tank out there, breaking into people's houses. Bend the knees.
About that peanut butter.
Hip hinge. If you haven't heard about Hank, you should look him up. Come on down. All fours, well, all sixes to start. Our shoulders are packed, our toes are tucked. Let's pattern this crawl with our knees down right away. You're going to peel a hand off the floor and the opposite knee. As you land fingertips, callus line, palm. Absorb the floor. You're a quiet bear sneaking into somebody's house. As we crawl in this pattern for 2 more on each side in the forward direction, we're contralateral here, so opposite hand and knee. Once you've taken those 4 steps forward, let's go 4 steps backwards. Palm, fingers flick, still land, fingers to palm. Flicking the floor away, absorbing, trying to lift opposite hand and knee at the same time. You may continue that on your knees, or we can try lifting our knees, hovering them off the floor. Same pattern. Brace the core. Opposite hand and foot to take that step. You're still absorbing the floor, and now you have that honey pot on your back. As you do this, try not to let that honey spill everywhere. Keep it level. Keep that core brace. I'm going to start walking backwards now as I pull and peel that hand off the floor. Shoulders stay packed. No tipping or twisting of the hips. Come back to center, hands under shoulders, knees hovered off the floor under your hips, and just hold this hover bear position for 4, 3, 2. Now tip the tailbone to the ceiling, push the floor forward, lifting the hips. Let's hang out here. We've become an elephant. For a couple seconds here, our tailbone is tipped to the ceiling, and we'll gently try to straighten the knees by pressing the heels to the floor. Prioritize that long spine through the low back. Breathe. We will then bend the knees, walk our hands to our feet, hip hinge, and press through to tall. Take a second off and stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Going to the zoo exhibits with Lauren and the squatting exhibits with me. Standing with your feet parallel, check. Take a single leg with a straight leg out front, like that tendu in ballet. How much weight is on it? Hopefully not too much. Return that leg underneath, pressing those hips forward, and repeat on the other side. Leg out front. Both legs are straight right here with very little load on that front leg. Stability on one and the mobility on the other. Pull through. Repeat again, leg out front. And then Lauren had us doing our two-footed squats, but from here, let's go a single leg squat. Keep the hip over the foot, and when the hips push through, bring the other leg back. Repeat the same leg for 2 more, reach a single leg out front, then it's our single leg squat. To extend, push the hips forward, pulling the leg back. 1 more time for 3, Single leg out front, knee towards over toe, hold that balance, and extend those hips, pulling the straight leg back. There will be a little weight shift. So transfer your weight to the other leg now, and a single leg out front. Then easy does it, knee towards over that toe as we sit low, and press the hips through to tall stand. Again, toe out front, little to no load on it, and knee over toe. Pull the standing leg in a little bit, and then press the hip through to tall. Excite those adductors for stability in the hip, and the last repetition with our toe out front, hold for time, and press the hip through to tall. We'll progress our single leg squats in conjunction with Lauren's zoo exhibits. What's next?
Excellent. Each zoo exhibit is going to alternate between something on our wrist and something from our hand or feet. So this one, we're going to be a duck. With our feet underneath us, we will gently press our knees towards over our toes. Keep that upper body stacked over top of our hips. Next, staying the same height the whole time, we will be peeling our feet up off the floor. So the heel, the toe flick, landing. As we land, think about rolling through that foot, accepting the floor, staying the same height. Once you've hit your wall, go backwards back. Now it's that toe ball heel as we go back. Each step, try to get that heel down at this height. You'll notice that will encourage a lot of ankle mobility and flexion here, so find the height that works for you. Once back, press through to tall. We're going to try to become a slightly smaller duck or closer to the floor, or stay the same height. We'll come down, sending those knees towards over the toes. You might even end up peeling those heels up off the floor in this position. Then, as we step, making sure the knees are coming through center. So we don't want to be winging those knees out to the side. Bring them through that center line. Again, once you've gone as far as you can, backwards duck walk back. Staying low, finding that lowest mallard, the duck you can. Coming back with your feet underneath, and then pressing to tall. Or the merganser, or the Donald. You
got it. Looking for Guelph's favorite duck here, favorite bird. We've named a couple. Let's focus a little bit, I guess. So it's little heavy leg sets here. As you squat with me, duck walks with Lauren, and another single leg squatting exercise here. Take that single leg and reach it forward, then bend. Now transfer weight to that front leg by pressing off the back. Like Lauren encouraged us to roll over our toes in the warm-up, can we go over the toe in the back? Then push through the toes, connect the heel. Now that scissor cue, Lauren also warmed us up in the lunge. Pull your front leg in and press your back leg forward. Then press off the back leg to transfer weight to the front, encouraging the rollover on the foot behind us. 2 more repetitions. Over the toes, toes, balls, heels. The back leg is pushing forward. The front leg is pulling in to create that stability. And then press off the back to tall. Return the knees together and then create room by going over those toes and bringing the leg to straight. Alternate to the other side. So that leg that was there, bring it to the front now. Toe, ball, heel, bend, and then weight transfer to the front. That's a little aggressive. I'm going to back up a little bit. So from here, it's that toe ball heel in the back. My left leg is pushing forward as my front leg is pulling in. Then to come forward, press off the back leg, roll over the toe as allowed, fully standing to the tall position. Then over the foot in the back, toe ball heel. Back leg pulls forward, front leg pulls backwards, and then press off the back and roll over. One more time. Toe ball heel in the back. Feel that scissor control tension for stability and press away from center for power. Return the knees to parallel and create room to extend the leg underneath. Shake it out. Progressing single leg squat variations in conjunction with
our next crawl from the floor. Let's do an elephant that's regular and then an irregular elephant to get into
irregular elephant.
Wait for it.
Oh, I can't wait for that
Actually,
sound.
the elephant becomes an inchworm.
Okay.
Figure that one out.
Okay.
cocoons. Okay, slowly tuck your chin and roll yourself down into that forward fold. Right now, we're practicing that compression, so our femurs are driving up to the ceiling as we try to forward flex over top of them. That means we're not pushing our hips back. Next, we'll find the floor in our A-frame or elephant shape. So our hands grip the floor, our feet step behind us, and our tailbone tips to the ceiling. Have slightly bent knees right now, and try to re-tip the tailbone to the ceiling. Now, keeping that position, maybe you can straighten the knees. If not, a slight bend is fine. Opposite hand and foot will leave the floor, walking a couple steps in that forward direction. Take your time. Breathe, thinking about peeling and absorbing the floor with both your hands and your feet. Once you've gone forward, come back the same distance. Feel that palm leave the floor, the fingers flick away. Come back to where you started and just gently bend your knees and just take a couple seconds off. Maybe sitting with those pointed feet, taking a break. Next, our elephant could remain the same. You could do the exact same thing, or we're gonna compress into an inchworm. So our hands will be on the floor and we're gonna walk our feet as close to our hands as we can and then back out into that plank position. Feet as close as we can and back out. So what we'll do is we'll start in our plank. High plank, hips extended, hands under shoulders. Now, tipping the tailbone to the ceiling, lifting the hips up, just as we did in that elephant, but this time walk your feet as close to your hands as you can, keeping your hands flat. Once there, walk your hands back out into that plank position. Our elephant became an inchworm somehow. Hold, then tip the tailbone, walk the feet into the hands. Keep the palms heavy, I'm watching. One more time. Walking the hands out, plank position, then tipping of the tailbone, femurs reach to the ceiling as you walk those feet in. Get as close as you can this time and just hold for a second, maybe wiggling a little closer. And then slowly press the floor away with your palms and stack yourself up to tall. Head is last.
And the breath of fresh air as well. Both of us in that up phase took our hands across our chest. I like doing that for two big reasons. One, the microphone gets in the way. Check. The other good reason is it helps ensure that those shoulder blades are in the retracted position and we're trying to move through the rib cage or spine. Check it out next time you're in that pose. Let's continue to work on that single leg squat variation, this time adding the lean that I introduced in the warm-up earlier. Single leg to the front, lean back like Lauren or Fat Joe or whoever it is. Let's sit tall, check. Then see the line that's in front on Lauren or your own leg. Keep the hips extended, keep the ribs to the hips, and challenge yourself to lean back. Then press off that back leg, pulling yourself onto the front. Toe ball heel to the back. Sit in a squat first. Then continue to extend both hips to catch up with that leg in front. Keep that rib cage on the hips. And could you breathe? Test your shield. Shields on the front to protect the spine and the back. And push off that back leg, perhaps rolling over the toe if you can. Then toe, ball, heel last time. Sit down in the squat with an vertical upper body. Then extend the bent leg hip, because this one is extended already. Extend both hips. Wear the rib cage onto the hips, and then press through to tall. Bring the knees to parallel, and then create room by standing tall, returning the leg underneath. Add your shake, add your reset, remember which leg was where, and repeat. It's our single leg squat effort to the front, toe ball heel. From there, there we go. From there, extend the hips. Both hips push through. Squeeze your butt cheeks, particularly that bent leg. Re-squeeze, connect the hips. Press off the back leg, aiming to get over the toe. Then toe ball heel in the back. Feel the scissor cue for helping with the balance. And then that hip extension, ribs to hips, help protect that spine on a lean back. Feel the nice quiver, and then press off that back leg, aiming to get over the toe in the back again. It's our final repetition here, toe ball heel, Feel the scissor sit in your squat with our vertical upper body first. Then extend the hips. Pull into center, rib cage to hips as always, and press off that back leg. Knees assemble together. Straighten the other leg underneath. Hold and shake.
2 more exhibits. 1 from our feet, 1 from our wrists after that. Our feet, we're going to be horsing around. So give yourself a little bit of room in front of you and start in your first position, which means from parallel, turn out slightly, squeezing your cheeks. Next, gently bend your knees, creating this diamond shape. Ceiling comes down on your head. Point a single leg out about 45 degrees. Toe, ball, heel. Pull on the straight leg so much it starts to bend, pushing off the back leg, keeping the hips extended. Point that back leg, connect heels together. Next, point, toe, ball, heel. Pull on the straight leg, then bend, extending those hips. Point, staying the same height as we drag that leg in. Toe, ball, heel, pull, bend, push, point, connect, making the diamond shape. Let's do 2 more in that forward direction. Again, feel those adductors as you pull. Transfer weight off that back leg, connect. Last one forward, toe, ball, heel, pull, push, connect. Now we have to go backwards back. So point, toe, ball, heel lands. Push off that front leg, connect to the diamond shape. Same rules apply as we go backwards. The hips are still trying to point forward, as are the shoulders. We're reaching and keeping the hips extended, feeling that preload as we pull on that straight leg, press out of that front leg. I think we have to do 1 more here to get back to where we started. Heels together, drive down, and press to tall. A horse met a penguin there.
I know. I think I was taking bigger strides to the back, which is okay. I love that horse walk. It's been a new old favorite, we'll call it, in the studio here. So hopefully your hips feel politely jacked up from that movement right there. May we return to our single leg squat one last time. But this time, let's take the leg that's been out front and return it to that low flamingo stance underneath the hips. Show some daylight. That tree pose from yoga is great too, but for this exercise, pull in so tight. First, stand balance, maybe stay there. Second, knee over toe, maybe stay there. Then straighten the leg in the front, hold for a second, return it underneath, and then press the hip through to tall. No daylight between those knees. 2 more repetitions. Hold the balance, that might be enough, or even holding this quarter squat. If allowed, reach the other leg out front and hold for a second. Return underneath, tight, and then extending through on the standing leg. 1 more time, knee over toe. Extend the leg out front, pull under, stand tall, and perhaps find that demi point or toe balance, hold for time, and control the down. Woo, that went better than I expected.
Woo.
Challenge yourself. Only go up as high as you feel your ability to control the down. Return to the other leg. Stay in the little flamingo pose and just continue to work on the balance. Or join us as we quarter squat. Hang out here, maybe extend that leg, and then pull it back under, extend the hip to tall. Repeating again, knee over toe. No daylight between those legs, straighten out front. Your pointed foot is great. Then pull underneath, extend the hips through. Last repetition, third and final, knee over toe. Hold on to that balance, straighten the leg, pull under, stand tall, and little by little, inch by inch, aim to get to that demi point rise, stiffen knees, and slow down with control. Stand on 2 feet. Floppy fish ankles could feel nice there too. And I think we have 1 more exhibit, Lauren, and then that's it for our Saturday.
Caca!
Ooh.
We're gonna do a crow.
Okay.
A crow. What we'll need to do the crow is we will be pulling ourselves down into our low squat. So with your feet in a comfortable squat position, pull yourself on down. Maybe this is where you stay. You hang out here, you stand up, take a little break, come back down. If you'd like to work on your crow, we will be placing our hands on the floor, fingertips, callus line, palm. Before we even transfer weight, push your fingertips into the floor, connect your callus line, and have your fingers slightly bent as to be able to use them as we balance here. Next, we'll get up on those tiptoes, bringing the elbows as close to the high triceps, armpits as possible. Slowly start shifting your weight. Once you can, maybe take one foot away and hold. Place that foot down. Other foot points and holds. Place that foot down. Come back to your squat position and just hang out for a second. That's your progression there. So single leg, single leg. We will be practicing taking both legs off the floor here if that's ready for you. If not, either squat position or single legs. Have those hands ready to grip. Transfer that weight high into the elbow pits. Light bend. Slowly tip, finding that balance point, allowing you to lift the toes off the floor. Once you're here and you'd like to advance, you could shift your head towards the floor, and then you'll be able to use your fingers to press yourself back up. Slowly transfer your weight back to that squat position and hold, and breathe. And we'll do that one last time. Use this as an opportunity to figure out how your hands transfer weight forward to backwards, which will help you eventually in your handstand. With those fingertips spread open, knees high, either 1 foot at a time or 2, transfer into that crow position. Maybe tipping forward and then pressing yourself back. And however you get out, slowly to your low squat and then whoop, to tall. Excellent.
Shake it out.
Whew.
Well, that's Saturday morning spent with Ian and Lauren at the zoo and with our bars and bells. So to our patrons, to those YouTubers at large, and in particular to our members with their membership on our online portal, thank you for joining us here live on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. or in the archive any day of the week. It is the weekend workout, but great simple movements to do any day of the week.
Thank you for joining. This is Bars and Bells. It's been a great week here. Next week, stay tuned. We start again live on Tuesday for our bell class. Again, my name's Lauren.
I'm Ian.
Together we take care, stay strong, and let's train soon.
Goodbye.